So, of course, it is a Tuesday. The NBA playoffs have started. Now we have all game ones finished. We have a couple game twos that commenced last night. The Clippers, Nuggets, Pistons, Knicks series are both tied at one apiece. So I'm going to give you guys my quick thoughts on what I saw in game one for each of these playoff series. We'll go in order from the games that what they kicked off. Most of them were blowouts, as we know. Indiana just took out Milwaukee. Indiana's a very good shooting team. When they're odd, they're very hard to beat. For Milwaukee, until Damian Lillard comes back, which because the NBA playoffs, which is annoying the hell out of me, to be honest with you, they're doing a lot of obviously 2 days off in between games. Like for example, the Lakers T-Wolves, they played Saturday. Game two, though, is tonight on Tuesday. I don't like that. It feels like the NBA, maybe they're working around the NFL draft, could be, but they're definitely milking the first round of these playoffs. When you get every other day off in the conference finals, it just seems strange to me. But we'll see. Damian Lillard comes back. We'll see what basketball shape he's in. I don't expect Indiana to necessarily run away with this series at all. I thought they played on fire. Milwaukee could not really shoot. I think Milwaukee does bounce back. They'll play well tonight in game two. Whether they win or not, that's a different question. But, as great as Giannis is, again, over the last three postseasons, he's failed to deliver. In Indiana, Halliburton, Siakam, Turner, they may not all be all NBA caliber players, but they're three very good players. And you go with Neesmith and Art, and they can certainly shoot the heck out of the ball. Then Clippers Nuggets has been a phenomenal first two games. Game one and game two coming down to the wire. Russell Westbrook, who has been a disaster for Denver, and who I believe was the guy that got Michael Malone fired out of Denver, saved them the game in game one with two incredible 3-point shots in the corner late, especially the one that sent the game into overtime. Clearly, from the first two games of these series, this is a very even series, back and forth, back and forth. Really, the coaching thing, again, I mentioned for Denver, they obviously have a new interim head coach. Clippers have Tyronn Lue. We'll see how big of a factor that is. The series plays on. It hasn't been that big of a factor yet. But it's been Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Norman Powell, Zubats. It's been a collective effort from the Clippers. And for Denver, Jamal Murray is back. He looks pretty good. He's played well these first two games. Again, Russell Westbrook has given them a little bit of a boost, but it's been mostly Nikola Jokic or bust. And it may help them win this series. It may not. Who knows? Shocking to my dismay is the New York Knicks have been outplayed in two games at home. They are lucky they went on that 21-0 run in game one to steal that one, or this could be 2-0 Detroit. Detroit should feel very good going back to the Little Caesars Arena in downtown Detroit for game three and game four. And even though the Knicks had a couple chances last night, they got back in the game. Mikal Bridges obviously blows the three. And then they're down four after the missed free throw from shooter. Jalen Brunson's got a chance to cut it to one. He bricks it as well. Carl Anthony Towns has not shown up yet, and really Mikal Bridges is not either for the most part in these first two games. The Knicks, a lot like last year, are very Jalen Brunson dependent. And, he played 44 minutes last night and he's out there hopping around trying to do whatever he can to score the ball because no other player on the Knicks is scoring at a consistent level. And Tom Thibodeau is already wearing down his guys, and Cade Cunningham and Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren. That Detroit Piston team is playing very well together. They're playing good basketball. They can go in these odd stretches where they're very poor shooting, right? They're not consistent at it. Um, I don't know yet if they have enough to win this series. I thought the Knicks would just walk over them because of the JB Bickerstaff Thibodeau coaching edge. But Detroit stole a very important game two here because I thought the way those two games went, if they would have went down 0-2 back to Detroit, they would have felt deflated because they outplayed the Knicks the first two games and lost them both. Now this series is 1-1. They say a series never starts until the road team wins. And so we'll see. I think this could be a more interesting series than I thought. It's probably Knicks in six now as opposed to Knicks in five. Then we had T-Wolves Lakers, which the Lakers just did not play any defense at all on Minnesota. Minnesota had over 40 open threes. They knocked most of them down. They had their way with them, and the Lakers just came out flat with no energy. It's like they were going to walk over Minnesota. And Minnesota came out playing like that team that made the Western Conference Finals. And so all of a sudden, when you got Anthony Edwards, when you got Julius Randle, when you've got Naz Reid, when you got Jaden Daniels doing all this stuff and producing, and for the Lakers, Austin Reeves was a no-show. LeBron only had 19, and Luka only had one assist. That's what was going to happen. And this, to me, really comes down to the defensive side of the ball, right? Can the Lakers, at least without a center, do they have effort? Can they create turnovers? Can they force up shots? Can they get out? Can they run in transition? Because when this Lakers team plays defense and their heart is in it, they can play really good defense. They can shut opponents down. They can get easy buckets and they can blow people out. When they don't, like they did on Saturday night, that's what it looks like. So again, Minnesota going on the road, stealing an all-important game one. Now all of a sudden we got a series, and now I see this thing going either six or seven. I still think, as great as Anthony Edwards is, Lakers have the two best players in the series, so I'll ride with the Lake Show. And then Oklahoma City made a point. I mean, they beat Memphis by 50. This thing wasn't even a contest. Maybe they'll win by like 10 or 15 tonight. I think Memphis will play better. But in the end, Memphis just, it's Ja Morant or nothing. I mean, Jared Jackson's a nice player, right? Desmond Bane's a nice player, but they can't match up with Oklahoma City. They have not been a very good team since the All-Star break. It's why Taylor Jenkins is no longer there. Whoop-de-doo, they beat Dallas in the play-in tournament. Who cares? Oklahoma City took care of business, and Orlando gave Boston a half, but they can't shoot, and Boston's shooting was just too much for Orlando to overcome. That's probably going to be a sweep as well. And Miami, they never go away. Tyler Hero had some good points. Bam Adebayo can produce, but they don't have the scoring punch to keep up with Cleveland. Cleveland can go on their avalanche barrages. Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland had a big night. So did Sam Merrill off the bench, made a couple of key threes. And it just felt like every time Miami tried to get back in the game, Cleveland would go on a mini run and put them back down 10 or whatever. So those three series right there on Sunday, all three of them were mostly blowouts. All three of them feel like it's a four, maybe a five-game series. If Miami can get fire at home one game and get Cleveland, I do think Boston and Oklahoma City at this point probably sweep. And then, listen, I predicted Golden State over Houston. It's what I predicted going into the series. The veteranness of Steph Curry, of Jimmy Butler, was going to be enough to overcome the youth of Houston, where Jalen Green could not shoot. Even a veteran like Fred VanVleet, 2019 NBA champion, was two for something from the field. Sengun had a nice game, and Houston definitely out rebounded Golden State by about 20 because Golden State, along with the Lakers, does not play with a lot of bigs. Sengun's going to be the big part of this series. He has to dominate, excuse me, as mostly Draymond Green is going to be on him. Draymond Green is obviously going to push and shove. He's going to give his attitude. Sengun has to be responsive to that. I think, Houston was all over Steph Curry defensively, and he still made some crazy shots. And when it looked like Houston was about to come back, they would give it to either Steph or Jimmy Butler for a big bucket late. Jimmy Butler had a knee scare at the end of the regular season, but he's looked fine in the two games he's played since. And Golden State just looks the more calm, energized team. Saying that, I do think Houston bounces back tonight. I don't think this will be a quick and easy series. I think Houston's going to have too much pride. I think Golden State will have some nights where they don't play as well. But again, Golden State has stolen one on the road. The Clippers have now stolen one on the road. Minnesota has stolen one on the road. And then out east, you have Detroit was now stolen one on the road. So half of the playoff series now and we've only had two game twos. A team has already stolen one on the road, which is very unconventional for the NBA playoffs. It shows, especially out west, of what we thought is, 2 through 8, or really 2 through 7, I should say, are very evenly matched. And out east, it really is a Cleveland Boston. It doesn't matter who wins the Milwaukee Indiana or Detroit Knicks series. Those two teams that advance will get crushed in the second round by Cleveland or Boston.
Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.